There is rarely a political event that is as enduring, captivating, and divisive as the Maricopa County ballot audit happening right now in Arizona. This is a thing that is hard to sort of explain. It's been going on for quite a while after the inauguration of President Joe Biden. It is ostensibly being done for the purposes of validating the election procedures to install or to restore election integrity to the voting public. But it is being blasted and praised, and hopes are being laid on it, and fears are being laid on it, and it is turning into this giant thing. It is starting to wind down. They're almost done. But the attacks on this audit continue, and that leaves everybody with the question. If the purpose of the audit, as stated, is not to influence the outcome of the election, but rather to verify election integrity and advise the Congress and the Senate of Arizona on how they'll move forward, then why is everyone so scared of the results that are coming out? Why are the media on a full-scale attack of this thing? Why is the Department of Justice potentially considering action against it? These are the questions, and I find it to be kind of fascinating here because at first I was a little dismissive of the audits, like, okay, they're going to do an audit or whatever, it'll be fine. But everybody's watching this thing. You've got Republicans like touring the audit facility, coming in from out of state to see what's going on. It's been this persistent news story forever, and we're all just waiting. What are they going to find? What are they going to find? There's been rumor stories coming out that have been debunked and all sorts of stuff, and everybody wants to know what's going to happen with this audit, except it seems for Democrats who have been fighting it the entire time. It's this wild, magical combination, and I love it. And I've got a news story about it today, and the thing about this audit is when you check the mainstream news, you find a bunch of articles panning it, talking about how Republicans are embarrassed by it. Oh, no one wants the audit. It's really this stain on the state. But when you actually start looking into that, you find out that's not really true, right? These Republicans, I mean, sure, they've expended some political capital to get this audit to happen, but that's because their constituents, thousands and thousands and thousands of constituents were calling, emailing, showing up at their offices saying, audit this election, audit these votes. We don't know what happened here. Audit it. We don't trust the system anymore. And they were left with the choice. Do we leave that state of being for our constituents, or do we try and ensure the integrity of the election, shore up any issues we might find? What do we do? They chose to do the audit, and they are sticking with it. And it's weird to see sort of the mainstream media talking about how embarrassing it is. But you notice they're always pulling like Liz Cheney's, right? They've always got Liz Chaney ripping the election audit. Oh, Chaney rips election audit, or it's an effort to subvert democracy, which shows just what kind of idiot Liz Chaney is. But that being said, it's always someone from out of state. It's always someone who's a rhino in the Republican Party. Liz Chaney, who was just thrown out of leadership for her stunning and brave stand. Republicans have lost faith in Liz Chaney. That's what's actually happened. And they maybe never should have had it in the first place. I don't know how Wyoming elected her. They're the ones who should be embarrassed at this point. And I think they're probably going to be looking to remedy that situation in 2022. But that's just me. But let's talk about this new thing that I've seen anyway, from the Arizona Attorney General telling the U.S. Department of Justice he's not going to tolerate any efforts to thwart the election audit in Maricopa County. This is a crazy story. I'm Nick Rekieta of Rekieta Law, a small law firm in central Minnesota. I'm a lawyer. I'm also a legal and political commentator on YouTube and on Odyssey. Wherever you're watching, hit that like button, hit subscribe, turn on your notifications. I don't want you to miss these videos. So here we go. This is from Epoch Times. And the Arizona Attorney General tells the Department of Justice he will not tolerate efforts to thwart the election audit in Maricopa County. Arizona Attorney General Mark Brnovich told the Department of Justice that his office will not tolerate any efforts to thwart the election audit. Quote, "My office is not amused by the DOJ's posturing and will not tolerate any effort to undermine or interfere with our state Senate's audit to reassure Arizonans of the accuracy of our elections," Brnovich told Attorney General Merrick Garland in a letter on Monday. "We stand ready to defend federalism and state sovereignty against any partisan attacks or federal overreach." Can I stop for a moment and let's just wallow in and appreciate the absolute stones on some attorney generals of states, because we live in a weird time for the union. We live in this weird time where the federal government is king. It started in the 30s, really, with FDR, and it's been getting progressively worse ever since. But there's this idea that the federal government is the king and all this stuff, and they run everything. States attorney generals like Mark Brnovich, like Ken Paxton, these guys who stand up and put to task the federal government over and over and over in lawsuit after lawsuit, they're really hilarious. This is just Arizona. But it's a strong reminder that there's a 10th Amendment for a reason, that states have state sovereignty, that the Constitution gives the right to determine how elections are done to the states, not to the federal government. And these guys say, yeah. Okay, big dog Merrick Garland, back off, back up, know your role, and sit down in the corner. This is our state. This is our vote. We determine how it happens, and you got nothing on it. I love it. I love that stuff. So here's this tweet from Mark Brnovich. It's got the letter involved in the tweet here. Comes days after Garland announced on June 11th that the DOJ will double the division's enforcement staff for protecting the right to vote. Now, see, when Democrats have said protecting the right to vote, they're not actually talking about protecting the right to vote. The right to vote has not been threatened in any major way by any state for really decades. What they're talking about is expanded access and reduced oversight from the states who have a right to control their own election. See, what they say is that any sort of attempt to control or verify that a voter is the person voting is somehow a return to the Jim Crow South and the removal of the right of African Americans to vote, which is absolutely ludicrous, especially when you're talking about a border state like Arizona, which has a significant portion of unlawful entrants residing in the state who may attempt to try to vote and who Democrats, frankly, would love to see vote. They would love to see illegal aliens voting in large numbers with the state unable to verify where those votes are coming from, or more importantly, who they're coming from, because they think it will benefit them. That is why this is such an important thing in a border state to have this election audit, especially when the results are so far outside the realm of common experience for Arizona. Arizona hasn't gone to a Democrat president in decades. It went, Maricopa County specifically has not, and I should say Maricopa County has not gone to a Democrat president in decades. And that throws up some alarm bells with the results that came up. That's why people are concerned about this. And they want to just verify that those results are accurate. Heck, maybe they are. A lot of people don't think so, but the audit results are going to come out, and that's going to be the story. Were they accurate or not? And if they were, well, then you know there's been a pretty big political demographic shift in Maricopa County. If they're not, then the state Senate and the state House have to decide what to do with that information. That's the reality of the audit. The audit, it can't subvert democracy, Liz Chaney. It's just a report on data. It can't do it. Any subversion of democracy that may occur would have to come from either a lawmaker, a Department of Justice, an attorney general, or a judge. That's or I guess an armed uprising, one of those three. But you're not really going to get an armed uprising in Arizona to overturn election results across the country. It's not really going to work that way. So you're really left with these legal options, and you can maybe call them subversions of democracy. Maybe. But you can't really do that when the democratic process has brought all of the elected officials into being that would be engaging in the alleged subversion. That's not a subversion. That is the process. We do have procedures in this country for changing election law, for verifying election results, and ultimately, at the end of the day, for certifying those results. Now, again, I have been long under the impression that I do not think the audit will have any impact on the 2020 election. I don't see a proper vehicle for doing it through the law. Maybe they'll try and argue and come up with something. I kind of doubt it. I think what they're going to do is they're going to use the audit as justification to tighten up voting laws, to reduce absentee ballots back to some semblance of normalcy and reality, and tighten up the controls around how those ballots arrive and how they're verified against the actual voter rolls that exist. That's just me. I don't know. I would love to know what you guys think, though. First of all, real quick, let's just take a moment and marvel at Mark Brnovich telling the DOJ and Merrick Garland, yeah, you go over there, watch from the corner, and most importantly, shut your stupid mouth. I love that. More attorneys general need to do this all the time. But that being said, I would love to know y'all's thoughts on what you think this election audit is going to produce. Go ahead and drop it down in the comments below. And until next time, thanks for watching. Peace. Peace.